In this video, we'll be reviewing Quiz 5 from the ENGI 1331 Summer 2018 semester. This quiz covers basic while loops and for loops. So whenever you're doing a problem that involves a while loop or a for loop, you should probably just start looking at your outer loop, what it's asking you, and then go one loop at a time and break down your problem. So for 1, see A is 1, B is this vector, while A is less than the length of B. Okay, so that'd be while A less than or equal to length B is saying while 1 is less than 5, do this stuff. Okay, so we're going to walk step by step through our loop. C equals negative A times B of A. Okay, so negative A is negative 1 times B of A, that's B of 1. Negative 1 times B of 1 less negative 1. C is negative 1. If C is less than 0, fprintf C. Alright, so we're going to fprintf negative 1. And then A equals A plus 1, so we're adding A. So now, first time A was 1, now A is 2. And we run a loop again. This is where pattern recognition comes in. So whenever we're looking at while loops or looking at for loops, there's going to be a pattern that the code is running. Here, A increments, and then we do the same thing each time. This is our pattern. So if this loop runs while A is less than or equal to the length of B is 5, so this loop will run as long as A is less than or equal to 5. That means it's going to run 5 times, because A will be 2, we'll do the loop again, then A will be 3, we'll do the loop again, A will be 4, we'll do the loop again, A will be 5, we'll do the loop again. Then when at the end of the loop where A equals 5, when 1 is added to A again, it becomes 6, our loop stops. So A is equal to 2, run through the loop again, C is negative A, so negative 2 times B of 2, that's 2, that's 4, skip it, A equals 3, 4A equals 3, that's still less than the length, C is negative A times B of A, that's negative 3 times 3, okay, so negative 9, cool, that means we're printing C. Adding A again, A is equal to 4. Run our loop again, so if A is equal to 4, C is negative 4 times B of 4, that's negative 4, 16, we skip that, A is 5 now. This is the last time we're running our loop. While A is less than or equal to 5, 5 is less than or equal to 5, so C is negative 5 times B of 5 is 5, so negative 5 times 5 is negative 25. Note that these would print out in a column in the command window because we're adding a new line every time. So whenever you're doing while loops, just run through the loop step by step, one at a time. If you can recognize the pattern, it'll speed things up. If not, you can go line by line every time, as long as it's a smaller problem. If it's a bigger problem with for loops and while loops nested together, you need to notice the pattern more quickly. Looking at number 2, okay, the same approach we have for the while loops is the approach we have for the simple for loops. What will be stored in the variable s? Okay, well, we have m as a matrix. I'm going to, as always, write out my matrix in a table form. R, C is the size of m, okay, so these aren't going to change. M, let's see, size of m, number of rows is 2, number of columns is 3, so I'm going to write down that R is 2 and C equals 3. And S equals 0, we're predefining S. Now for n equals 1 to C, okay, so that's saying for n equals 1 increment of 1 to 3. In other words, it's going to run 3 times. S equals S plus the sum of m all rows n, okay, so that means, so if we break that down, that's saying S is equal to S plus the sum of m all rows comma n. Okay, so n is going to be our counter, so the first time this runs, it's going to be the sum of m all rows and the first column. In other words, all rows first column, that's 1 and 3. So this will be 4 the first time our code runs. So again, pattern recognition. If we see that every time this loop runs, we're adding the sum of a column of m, we can kind of skip the going one line at a time and running through our loop over and over again. We know every time we run through this loop, n is going to increase, and we're just going to add the next column. So we add 4 the first time. For n equals 1, we add 4. For n equals 2, okay, well, m, that'd be a colon, now that would be a 2. That's these two values, so we get another 4. And for n equals 3, we add those two values, so we get 2. We're summing these all together, so rs is 10. Number 3 is just seeing if you've noticed what this line of code is doing. So this for loop here is summing every column of m together. In other words, it's adding these all together, adding each of these and then adding those together into the s variable. So really this little chunk of code rather is just doing, or is just executing one function, and we know what that is. That's our sum function. So if we wanted to sum together all the elements in our variable, we would just say the sum of m. Or we could say s is the sum of all of m. Either of these would accomplish the same thing that this for loop accomplishes. This question is just to see if you understood what this loop is doing.